Hello everybody, it's Dio from Firm But Fair Gaming, bringing you another video. Enjoying all the videos and content we produce, don't forget to click on that subscribe button, click on that like button, and don't be afraid to share. Don't forget to click on the notification button, customize it however you want, but that way you're notified whenever we publish another video. Hello everyone, welcome to another Diablo 3 video here for Season 27. Today we are going to be talking about the ZBarb again, but in particular we're going to be talking about the ZBarb for rats. So for those that are unfamiliar with rats, I'm just going to quickly jump over to, I was streaming last night doing rats, so just going to quickly show what rats look like. So basically it's a 4-man group that you pick a high GR, high-ish, I guess, so like a 120. So the idea is you want to be able to do the Rift in under 2 minutes. Some groups accept being able to do it in 2.5, but generally you want to do it in 2 minutes or less. It requires a ZDH who will debuff the mobs so that they take up to 205% damage, or maybe even more than that, and basically so you can blow them up. Because as you can see here, we're just on a 120, but things are just absolutely getting blown up. The 2 DPS in this particular one that we're using are Impale DHs. So this is the Shadow set, Shadow Mantle, and this is what is the rat build for right now. There are speeds that use wizards, and they usually do a little bit higher clears because the time, like a speed with a wizard is probably closer to 5 minutes, because generally people are doing 130s or anything. But anyways, the idea is that you move super fast, everything gets blown up really quickly, and on average in this run, originally with the default ZBarb build that I did a video of a short while ago, the clears are about 2 minutes and 50 seconds, or 15 seconds, not 250. So just over the 2-minute mark, and then we swap things up into the speed Z build, and we were able to shave 45 seconds off just by being able to enhance our team's movement speed. And because they're blowing everything up, like you see here, we were in 1:15 and cleared that 120 super quick. And so by just changing things up and adding in a few movement speeds for the team, we were able to shave that time off, and it's just super effective. It's the preferred one for the rats. So I just thought I'd cover it for you guys. So it's enough time about rats and the benefit from it, but let's break it down and show you how this build varies from the other and what you need to set up. So previously for the ZBarb build, we could have the Balcathos weapon set, or you could have just been using like a pig sticker with the storm shield, because we just want more to be able to survive as we're doing like the higher GRs. But when we're doing speeds, we really want movement speed because we got to keep up with the rats as they're going through, because they have insane movement as well. So we need to keep up with all 3 demon hunters. So we're going to be using the Balcathos weapons here too, because while we're whirlwinding, we get the 45% increased attack speed and movement speed. It's the movement speed that we want in order to keep up with them. Aside from that, the gear is pretty much the same as what we had. So we have a Leoric's Crown to reduce the cooldown of our skills. We got the Mantle Channeling for some damage mitigation while we're spinning. We have the Aquila Cuirass because we're always going to be at full Fury, so we're going to have more damage mitigation. Using the 2-piece Horde of the 90 Savages, so double the effectiveness of our shouts. And then we're using Pride of Cassius for our belt, so increase the duration of Ignore Pain, which is going to give our teammates a 50% damage reduction, as well as ourselves. We are using Strong Arms as our bracers, so enemies hit by knockback suffer up to 30% more damage. We're not using NEMs. The ZDH, the Demon Hunter support, will be rocking the NEMs, so we don't have to. But they may ask you to run them, so just keep that in mind. Just have a pair of NEMs handy. For our rings, we're using the Oculus ring here, and this is what I sanctified to get the max roll. And of course, our sanctified is while whirlwinding, we pull in and hold enemies, so we can drag them as we go. The other ring we're using is Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac, so reduce the remaining cooldown of one of your skills when we hit with a resource spinning attack, which basically, you just spin on top of them, and we're going to get time off our CDs. And then I'm also using Illusory Boots so we can move unhindered through enemies as well. So the alternative to this, of course, is we could be using ConqueLst Chain. That is what we have in our cube, so we're going to have to alternate between them, whether we want to have Pride of Cassius on or in the chain. And again, that requires whether we're using NEMs or not. If we are wearing NEMs, then we'll probably want to have the strong arms in the cube as well. But anyways, we'll get into that in a little bit. For our legendary gems, we are using Ice Blink, so our cold stills now apply chill effects, and so this is just going to increase the chance for our DPS to crit the enemies. We're also using Gem of Efficacious Toxin, so all enemies you poison take 10% increased damage, and they deal 10% less, so it's going to help your rats kill them as well as survive. And you can either use Esoteric here just for survivability to make sure that you get clipped by an explosion or anything, you don't go down. Or you can use Wreath of Lightning, so it's got a 15% chance to deal some lightning damage every second to nearby enemies. But then the other thing for this is, well, under the effect of it, you gain 25% movement speed, so that'll help you keep up or keep ahead of them as well. For the cube, there's a couple different options we can go with. You could either go with a Measure Smith, so reduce the cooldown of one of your skills when an enemy dies. But because you're flying so quickly through and you're killing many, many elites, I actually prefer using in-geom because it resets, reduces your cooldowns by 10 seconds for 15 seconds. So after you kill an elite, you have this window of 15 seconds where you can just spam your abilities. So you can spam charges ahead, constantly refresh all your spells on your teammates. So I very much prefer that because it's pretty much always up because you're always running into elites and dropping them down. For our armor, so because I'm wearing Pride of Cassius, I have ConqueLst Chain in here, and this is only because the ZDH was running the NEMs. So if they're not running NEMs though, then I would need to put on my Nemesis bracers because of course somebody needs to run them for when you're doing speeds. And it would be better to have the strong arms for the increased damage and the NEMs rather than the movement speed buff from the ConqueLst Chain. But this is the preferred setup. Ideally, you want the ZDH to run the NEMs so you can have this to increase the move speed. And then lastly, for our ring, the last one because I didn't have Band of Might on, Band of Might is in here for our survivability. So you can interchange any three of these if you want. So either Oculus could be in here or Obsidian, or I have the Band of Might just because it guarantees the 80% damage reduction. The last thing we want to cover is our skills. So it's pretty similar to what you see for the regular build. So we're going to have Warcry with Veteran's Warning. So we're going to give a shout, increase the armor for us and our allies for a couple minutes. And we're just going to constantly refresh that anyways, because when we use Warcry, we're going to, and we have ConqueLst Chain, we're going to get that 40% movement speed. Here's where one of the abilities are different. So we're using Sprint with Force March. So increase movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds, and then it increases the movement speed of all our allies as well. And we're just going to be able to spam that as we're going through so we can move super, super fast, and so can they. And then I am using Whirlwind with Wind Shear here, so we're going to gain 1 Fury for every enemy struck. We could change that if you wanted to. You could change that into Hurricane, so it'll just help pull enemies in. So that's one alternative there. And then for increased mobility, I have Furious Charge here with Dreadnought to give me 3 charges. And so this is just because with in-geom as well, this is going to reset all the time. And so basically I'm going to have 3 charges so I can always charge. And if I got charged back to pick up globes that somehow got missed, which shouldn't happen because the ZDH should pick them up, I can sprint back, come back, charge back, and then back forward and all that sort of stuff. It just helps with mobility around the map. And then we have Ignore Pain with Mob Rule. So this is a mandatory one. So reduce all damage taken by 50%. And we gain immunity to control impairing effects. And then our allies get the 25% damage reduction as well. And immunity for the duration of Ignore Pain. And then lastly, we have Threatening Shout with Falter. So we're just going to cause enemies to take 25% more damage. And we're basically spamming this all the way through, which is why in-geom helps, because we're flying past enemies so often as they're just getting clipped and dying as we're going by. We're just basically spamming that repeatedly as they die. And then our passives here are pretty much the same as usual. Superstition, reduce all non-physical damage. We have Inspiring Presence, so the duration of our shouts are doubled. as well as it gives some life regen. Nerves of Steel, just in case we happen to take fatal damage, we won't die. It's our second life. This can only proc once every minute, and this is just so if we happen to get clipped and die, us going down would reduce the toughness of the group and also the sprint, like the speed boost that we're providing, so we don't want to go down. You never want to go down as a ZBarb. And then lastly, we have Relentless, so if we do go low, basically our skills cost half as much, and all damage taken is reduced by 50%, just a little bit of survivability just in case. So that is the build. So just for fun, I'm just showing it in action here, and this is how much move speed we have. We're just being able to sprint and charge as I charge into things repeatedly here. But it's just so helpful to the group. Like the speed boost is insane. And like I said at the start, we were able to go from, it took us about 2 minutes and 30 seconds to clear 120 speed to, after switching to this and giving the team the boost, we were clearing them in under 1:30. So that's just pretty crazy. The difference there is huge. And of course, like, you know, we're saving, it's 45 seconds that we're saving off each run. And that's about half as long as it took us to do a run in total. So we were just amping up how fast we're going through and our Paragon climb and how many risks we were completing an hour just skyrocketed after doing that, because we were saving about 50% of our run when we were doing our new ones. So anyways, that's enough about it for me. If you have any questions or comments about the build, please let me know below. And as always, we appreciate any likes, shares, and subscribes. And of course, you can find me on Twitch. It's been a blast chatting with all you guys. So keep showing up. I'm loving it. And I hope you guys are enjoying it too. So until next time, I hope you're enjoying Diablo 3 Season 27. And I hope to see you on Twitch.